I can't think of a better car for me to own.
No. Would you buy one?
Yes.
Hello and welcome back to Buckle Up. I'm Harry King and this is a Dacia Jogger. But not just any jogger, it's my jogger. So let's get to jogging. So we'll start at the front, and the eagle-eyed among you, or the Dacia fans, will have noticed that this effectively has the front end of a Sandero stepway. That's how they've made this car, is they've just taken a Sandero stepway and stretched it. Interestingly, Dacia's really stepped up their game in terms of exterior styling. This looks a lot more premium than the prices. So you've got LED daytime running lights, you've got little Dacia badges in there, you've got some nice bright work on the grille, and then lots of plastic cladding around the bottom to give it an off-roady look. Moving down the side, that off-roady styling continues. You have these large sort of arch covers. You've got this black sticker down the side and then a nice big cladded sill as well. You also have these roof bars, nice and chunky, and you'd think, wow, these are so good, they're very firmly attached. These actually unattach, and then you can use them the other way to make the other kind of roof bar if you'd like putting stuff on your roof. Also right here we can see the sort of seam where the front of a Sandero stepway was joined with the back of a sort of estatey people carrier thing. And some people have said they don't like this, but have you ever seen a Skoda Roomster? Because I say to you, sir, that this is a million times better. Here, pop-out windows. I love pop-out windows. They're great because you can pop them out on the motorway and they don't really affect your drag that much. I know, I'm a very boring person. Also, you might not have noticed this on camera, but they are not alloy wheels. They are steel wheels with plastic covers. But Dacia has gone to the effort of making a steel wheel that has gaps specifically behind the spokes on its covers. So it's quite hard to tell that they're not alloy wheels. Just little touches like that help the car feel more premium while not really costing you any more money. To the boot! I think I'm going to point this out. I don't know if you recognise these lights from anywhere, but to me they look distinctly like the rear lights from a Volvo. That is quite a recognisable body line, as it were. But yes, onto the boot. It's very big. To save money, all of the badges are stickers rather than your traditional plastic. But here's the really exciting bit, and I've just remembered that I haven't taken anything out of the boot. But here's the boot. And here's all of the stuff that I've been able to fit in it.
Where can you get that buckle up bag from?
That buckle up bag, you can get that buckle up bag from the Buckle Up store, which you'll find the link in the description.
Oh wow, I might get myself one.
You do that, unnamed cameraman. So, feature one of the boot. This is the spare tyre. It's sticky, so you can just stick it to the boot, but that's what you get. You can pay to get a space saver spare wheel, but now here in all its majesty is the boot. There's no false floor, this is just the floor, so there's nowhere to really hide anything. There is a little strap on this side. You also get a couple of hooks, a couple of tethers, and a 12-volt socket for if you want to plug in a Hoover. But there is another use for that 12-volt socket, because this is a 7-seater, and with just a few clicks, there you go, your seats are in place. These seats do not fold into the floor though. If you want to use all of the space in the boot, you have to just fully remove the seats. That's not difficult though. I'll just stick that back down, lift that up, and then there's two little switches under here, and then the whole seat just pulls out, like so. And then you know, you can sit down and relax wherever you like. Who needs a camping chair? I don't. I own a Dacia Jogger. Let's put this back in the car and then I'll go and sit in it properly, and I'll show you what it's like being in the boot. Okay, so getting into the third row of seats, there's a little pull tab up here for these chairs, and then unlike the rearmost chairs, these are just free now as soon as you pull that tab. So you just roll these up into the front seats and they're held in place just by being basically in tension against the front seats, which leaves you with a decent amount of room to climb in. Slightly irritatingly, you get this piece of metal here that can jab you. It's not sharp, it's just a bit irritating. And look, this is enough room for a 5'11" adult. I have just a smidgen of knee room here. My feet can go all the way under these seats. Yeah, my legs are slightly high, but it's a lot better than a lot of 7-seaters, including vehicles that are actually physically bigger than this. I have a lot more room. This is also why it's good to have the pop-out windows, as it means there's ventilation here for the third row. You also get cup holders, which is nice. And yes, that 12-volt socket is now handily here, so you can use it to charge your iPad or whatever kids do these days. Okay, so now we're in the middle row, where weirdly I actually feel like I have slightly less space than I did all the way in the back. This seat is in my driving position. Incidentally, that is all the way back, so my legroom is slightly compromised. The back of the seat is fairly squishy though, and my feet do fit underneath it, so it's not too bad, but it would definitely be more child-friendly back here if you've got a tall driver. There's not too many features in the back. There's a 12-volt socket down here. There are seat back pockets. There are large door pockets, but there are no cup holders. There's no pull down thing in the middle because they've prioritized having a sort of 3-seater bench where the seats are clearly delineated, rather than having a compressed middle seat with a fold down armrest. So now to the front, where the interior is much nicer than you would expect at this price point. I'm not going to lie, there are hard plastics in here. There's hard plastics on top of the door, on the dashboard, down here on the centre console. It's all hard plastic, but they've inserted this squidgy bit of material, and they've got it again on the armrests on the doors. And the top of your centre armrest cum storage space is also soft, and the steering wheel is covered in some kind of vinyl leather thing, but it's, you know, pleasant, more pleasant than a plastic steering wheel. And just all of these little touches, little inexpensive touches, make this feel like a much more expensive cabin. You can find cost cutting in some places. You have the audio controls on the back of the steering wheel that first appeared in sort of the early 2000s in Renaults. It's still the same. Screen, multimedia screen. This is comfort and above, gets this screen, and basically it's just somewhere to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. That's all I do. It's cabled, and you just plug it into there. Slightly irritatingly, the cable is up on the dash, but there's no place up on the dash to put your phone, so I've got it snaking around so I can put the phone down there. There is an electric handbrake, which I find irritating. It doesn't have hill hold, and this handbrake just automatically disengages as the clutch lifts. So if you sort of seconds guess yourself while you're doing a hill start, you'll just roll backwards. Storage. You've got a decent sized glove box. In there you'll find the owner's manual and the tool for rearranging the roof bars. You've got this centre area here, which is where I put my phone. You've got this armrest cum cubby hole, 2 cup holders in the centre, decent size, fit this bottle in the front one. Door bins are absolutely massive. I've currently got about 1,000,005 things in there, and that is about it. Comfort touches that you might not expect. This has climate control, not just air conditioning, but proper climate control with a set temperature. It is one zone though for the whole car. You've got cruise control and a speed limiter. Not radar, but cruise control, which are things you might not expect to find on a Dacia. I can't believe that this car cost 17 grand. I don't understand how Dacia can be making money, because you can't buy a Ford Fiesta for this money anymore. You can't buy a VW Polo for this money anymore. And yet you can buy a 7-seat, large, practical family vehicle from Dacia. How they're making a profit on this, I may never understand. Oh, you've got auto wipers as well. But yes, let's speak about everything else on the move. So driving the Dacia Jogger, first things first, visibility is excellent. This is a very upright vehicle. The windows are nice and big. The back window is maybe a little shorter than I'd like, but there is a reversing camera, so the visibility you lack from that you get back through the reversing camera. So that's all sorted. Wing mirror is nice and large. There's lots of adjustment in the chair. I am adjusted all the way back. I'm comfortable where I am, but if you're taller than 6 foot, you might find that you maybe can't get as much legroom as you would want as the driver. But it's quite nice. There's a dead pedal, which you only find them on automatic cars. So that's quite nice. It's a good place to rest your left foot on a cruise. Driving dynamics are surprisingly good. This car only weighs 1.2 tons, which is incredibly light for the size of the vehicle. That's what my old Mark II Ford Focus used to weigh, and as is well documented, the Ford Focus is excellent to drive, and surprisingly, so is this. I'm not going to say it's a sports car, it's not a sports car, but it's lightweight, it's chuckable, and there's nice big squidgy tyres, and it's progressive, and just, you can have a surprising amount of fun on the back where you can sort of hustle it. Yeah, and the engine itself, it can be a very rewarding experience. It's not like a Ford EcoBoost. You can tell this is turbocharged, but there's a joy to that. Above 3,000 RPM, it pulls far better than the numbers would suggest to you. You feel like you've got more power than you have, really. Obviously, the downside to that is below 3,000 RPM, it can feel a little sluggish. You've got to judge off the line quite well, because there's a very small space between being lethargic or chirping the wheels. But once you've got it sussed out, it's fine. And it leads me nicely onto the clutch itself. It's quite high, and the engagement is slightly odd. It's very, very gradual, the engagement. So if you're driving slowly and smoothly, it's incredibly smooth. But if you are driving on it and you're trying to do fast gear changes, it is tricky to judge. You sometimes think you've engaged the clutch and you're not all the way there, or so on and so forth. And it's not quite balanced with the feel of the other pedals. The brake pedal is very progressive all the way down. You have to push it a decent amount to get a lot of braking. I like that. Some modern cars, the brakes are a bit over eager. I'm thinking Ford Fiesta. So I like that this has, effectively, it has the brake feel of an older car. And then the throttle's nicely judged as well, but you can sometimes tell it's electronic and sometimes it thinks it knows best, and you modulate more on the throttle than your foot moves, if that makes sense. But that's more sort of town slow speeds it does that, and I think when you're actually driving quickly, it doesn't seem to cut in the same way. I just can't get this. It's so comfortable in here. It's extremely comfortable. The seats are nice and soft. They've got a decent amount of support. I mean, it's not a sports car, but for if you are throwing it into a corner, you are held in place somewhat. And with the dead pedal and the good seating position and the cruise control, this is actually a very competent motorway vehicle. And also, sixth gear is immensely long. At 70 miles an hour, you're doing just over 2,000 RPM. So you get very good economy. I've been getting 40 mpg combined, and I've mostly been doing A-road and town driving. I've only done a little bit of motorway driving on that read. But when you are on the motorway doing cruising, you're getting well north of 50 mpg in a 7-seat vehicle, in a petrol, and there's no hybrid or anything going on. It's just basics. It's lightweight, long gearing, an efficient engine. There's no big downsides. There are little niggles throughout the car, just little things that could be better, but then you always go back and reflect on it and go, yeah, but I'm paying 200 quid a month, and it's all excusable, you know, it's all within reason, and there's no big drawback. I can't find a big drawback. I don't understand why these aren't selling in the thousands. Probably because people assume that an SUV is the best way to get a lot of space. This has far more space in it than the Duster. Way more space in it than the Duster. And it's more efficient. And because it's on a new platform, it's more comfortable. But probably people will still be walking into the Dacia. I want a big car, I'll go buy a Duster. Don't. Go buy this. And don't be put off by the brand. The interior's a genuinely pleasant place to be. yes, there are hard plastics, I know, and I know there's these old Renault controls here, but they are functional, they work. The plastic's hard, but it's not brittle, it doesn't feel flimsy, it feels sturdy. Everything's fit for purpose. I think you can tell this car has won me over completely. I probably would have bought it if it weren't as good as this, but the fact it is so good, it's just a massive, massive win. Yes, I probably whittled on enough about how fantastic this car is, how much I'm basically congratulating myself for making such an excellent choice. So take that as you will, but yeah, I don't have any regrets so far, and I will keep you updated because I own this car. But yes, back to me for a conclusion. So, the Dacia Jogger. If you need a 7-seat family vehicle, here it is. I mean, that's the long and short of it. There is no reason not to buy this car. It's such good value for money. It's far better than it has any right to be, and it looks good for what it is, and the interior's nice, and there's well, I bought it. I think that's the ultimate endorsement, isn't it? I've literally bought this car. So thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment any of your thoughts about the car. If you think I've made a terrible choice, let me know. And most importantly, please subscribe. It makes a massive difference, really helps us out. Down in the description, we have all of our links for our social media. We also have a merch store where you can buy branded merchandise and look like a real cool cat. We also have a Patreon and channel memberships if you'd like to support us in that way. Always, all of it is greatly appreciated. Anything you can do, so please do. And I'll see you next time.